What's going on, everyone? Phil here on behalf of KOGaming, and welcome to the Hateful Truth REBOOTED, my gaming review series where I give you maximum truth and minimum bullshit regarding the latest video game releases. Today I'm going to be talking about Fallout 4, the long-anticipated sequel to the Fallout franchise, which many people have been hyping and waiting for quite some time. Now, I'm fully aware that this game came out over 2 months ago, however, I took the time to do a very complete playthrough of the game, including most of the side content, a lot of free world roaming, and completing all the different possible endings of the game so that I could give you the most complete review possible. Also, I'll be honest, I got caught up a little bit in the holidays and didn't really have a chance to work on this until today, so here we go. Now, I'm a fan of the Fallout series. I fell in love with Fallout 3 back on the Xbox 360 and very much enjoyed Fallout New Vegas, so much to the point that I actually did second playthroughs of them for YouTube. So when Fallout 4 was released, I was very pleased to see that the series kind of stuck to its roots in a lot of regards. The first-person shooting, the VATS system making a return and pretty much being kind of unchanged from the original games, the fact that the narrative trees in dialogue still exist and you can say different dialogue choices to control situations. You can also use your different abilities through RPG-style leveling such as speech skills to unlock different conversation trees and such. There's looting, there's a ton of content, there's open world exploration. Again, a lot of the cool conventions from the original Fallout games are very much present in Fallout 4, and that's a good thing in my opinion. Among those returning factors are a lot of improvements that I feel really helped the game. First of all, the improvement in graphics. And, a lot of people complained about Fallout 3 and New Vegas, stating that those games kind of had outdated graphics when they were new. Fallout 4 certainly isn't the cutting edge of next-gen visuals, but at the same time, it definitely improves upon the formula of the previous games and brings it into the modern era. I definitely like the improvement in the gunplay, in particular, using the first-person shooter gameplay outside of VATS. In the previous Fallout games, this felt really clunky, but in Fallout 4, it almost feels like you're playing any other first-person shooter, no matter what weapon you're using. It's very much welcomed, and it makes the game a lot more uncumbersome when it comes to using weapons really quickly and not having to constantly go in and out of VATS in order to actually score kills against difficult enemies. In addition, Fallout 4 has the largest number of followers for your cause than any of the previous Fallout games, although quite honestly, I don't really think they improved the AI of these followers too much, where constantly they're kind of getting stuck on walls and they don't seem to be following you all the time, only to kind of magically teleport to your position once you enter a doorway or a new instance. But the fact that there are more of them, they have their own personalized stories, many of them have their own companion missions to unlock, adds to the amount of content in the game and is very well welcomed. In addition to that, a huge open world with insane amounts of side content, and this is one thing that I definitely have to emphasize about Fallout 4. If you want to get the most out of the game, I strongly recommend that you either use an online wiki or you buy the strategy guide, either or, because there are so many missions in this game that are unique and interesting. You're gonna want to be sure to get them all, and during my playthrough of the game that spans some 40 some hours of gameplay, I did my best to hit upon every single mission that either gave you a trophy or achievement and really felt like it had its own narrative storyline to be sure that I was doing a semi-completionist run of the game. In addition to even all of those improvements, the game sports new legendary level enemies which will drop loot, and this is a cool addition. In previous Fallout games, really you either had to just craft your own unique items at a bench or you had to find the best weapons in the game. In Fallout 4, certain high level enemies will actually drop really good weapons, armor, and things. It feels a lot more like almost a Diablo-like experience where fighting these high-level enemies is going to pay off and actually give you a reward for your hard-earned win. And of course, in addition to all of that, there's a brand new settlement and crafting system by which you can set up settlements all across the Commonwealth, which is what they now call Boston. You can have settlers move in and take different positions in these different settlements, setting up defenses and stuff against invasions. You can actually have supply lines running between these settlements for the very first time, and then you can actually gather resources and supplies to craft your own weapons and armor. Yet the final major addition to the Fallout 4 game and franchise. By actually customizing your armor, you can add different attributes, strengths, weaknesses, and basically great cool improvements, even visual things like making your headlamp look a different color or have actually the Pit Boy, Vault Boy on it. It's pretty cool the amount of customization that's possible in the game, and this is all new stuff added to the franchise with Fallout 4. Now, despite all of those noted improvements, the game pretty much does kind of play very similarly to Fallout 3 in New Vegas. You're going to be wandering through the Commonwealth, you're going to be trying to solve a mystery, in this case, what happened to your son, where did he go, you're going to be helping out various people that you run into along the way, there's going to be different factions that are going to be seeking to recruit you for their own cause, you're going to have different moral choices and dilemmas that you're going to be faced with along the way, you're going to find some followers who'll follow along with you on your quest, they're going to do a lot of shooting and a lot of looting, you're going to kill hundreds and hundreds of generic enemies to finally get to the boss level monsters, the rare level spawns that drop rare items, and yada yada yada. It is pretty much kind of the same formula as the previous games, and if anything, one of the major complaints that I've heard from many people is Fallout 4 just feels like Fallout 3 with a few modernizations, and honestly, that's kind of a very accurate way to describe the game. Does it really go outside of its way to break the mold? No, what it does is it goes down that common and very well-known road that Fallout 3 and New Vegas went down, but it adds in different factors for those who want to expand upon that experience. You can very well play this game ignoring the crafting, ignoring the settlements for the most part, and for a few, very few story missions that require it, you can just play this game as if it were the previous games and enjoy it at your own pace that way, or you can really delve into the new content and enjoy it for what it is, adding to the gameplay experience. So overall, Fallout 4 is a pretty lengthy game, a pretty hefty game when it comes to the amount of stuff that's in it. And although there are repetitive fetch quests, there are radiant quests that infinitely respawn, forcing you to either do gathering or killing a certain number of enemies in order to get experience, a la every RPG ever, there also is a hefty amount of unique experience stuff in there that you're going to want to do. A standard playthrough, just going through the story of the game, is probably going to take you 8 to 10 hours tops. If you rush through it, I'm sure you could do it even faster than that. But if you're really going out of your way to experience the unique side content of the game, you're certainly going to get anywhere from 20 to 40 hours of gameplay. Now, if you're a completionist and you want every weapon, you want to craft every high level item in the game, you want to get every settlement and have the whole map under your control, now you're probably talking upwards of 50 plus hours. For 60 bucks, that's a pretty good value, and in my opinion, it really does feel like the most complete Fallout 4 game when it comes to bang for your buck. But you know, with the positives come the negatives, and I'm certainly not one to ignore that. Let's take a look at some of the things that I didn't particularly like about Fallout 4. Number one, the most startling thing of all, the frame rate. It's still 30 frames per second, but not really, because a lot of the times when you're doing a difficult firefight with multiple enemies, or if you're running through a critical area with a lot of stuff that's kind of, you know, loading around you, the frame rate plummets. And it's funny because this was a complaint during Fallout 3, and here we are how many years later, and it's still exactly the same in Fallout 4. Now, disclosure, I played this on the Xbox One, but I've heard the same exact issues exist both on the PlayStation 4 and the PC version of the game, and that's just unacceptable. Why couldn't they advance the graphical engine to the point where it could load everything it wanted to do and not have to drop the frame rate into the toilet? I don't understand that, and I'll be honest, when you're doing some really critical fights here, it could get very difficult to try to hit what you're trying to hit, or, you know, do what you're trying to do when the game is locking up. I don't know how many times, oh, I have to do something really quickly and the whole menu locks up on me and now I'm wondering if I'm going to die or not. In addition, the game still has critical game bugs. I already mentioned one with the AI of the companions where they don't necessarily follow you everywhere they're supposed to, but there's other bugs too. Enemies will get stuck in walls and all the clipping issues of previous games. Yeah, all that stuff still exists, and it's kind of frustrating that, again, it's supposed to be the modern Fallout. It really does feel like you're kind of playing Fallout 3 with all of its shortcomings, with a lot of modern additions, but they didn't fix the issues from the previous games, and I really have to throw my hands up and say, why? What gives? Why didn't Bethesda take the time to fix these known issues from the previous installments? And so, ultimately, Fallout 4 is not a perfect game. I'd say it is a mixed bag, but a bag that weighs far more heavily towards the positive, with the incredible amount of content in the game, the fact that there's so many new additions and so many things that were really attempts at improving the game. For the most part, I can kind of overlook its shortcomings and the fact that Bethesda didn't fix all the problems from the last installments. It kind of is what it is. You gotta take the good with the bad, and being that this was one of my longest playthroughs ever, one of the games that I really was enjoying every moment that I played it. I wanted to take my time to do everything in the game and really do a full completionist run of it. I really enjoyed Fallout 4, and I kind of find myself saying this was an ultimately very positive experience. Those negative things really didn't nag on me too much. And so ultimately, factoring in both the good and the bad, I'm going to give Fallout 4 a rating of 9.5 out of 10. That's right, it is one of my favorite games that I've ever done a playthrough for. It's right up there with some of the best things I've ever done. Yes, there are shortcomings, but it's certainly not enough to hinder the awesome experience that I had with this game, and I hope that the DLCs that are planned for 2016 end up being just as good as the ones from the previous Fallout games, and, you know, kind of stay in line with that Bethesda seal of greatness that we're used to. Please don't let it be like those DLCs originally for Fallout 3. Anyone remember the ones that didn't even load on launch day? Please let them work. But a great game overall, 9.5 out of 10 from me. That is it for the Hateful Truth Rebooted review of Fallout 4. I hope that you enjoyed it. Thanks a lot for watching, and I hope that you'll tune in next time for my next game review. Peace out.